Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Money Down NFL show presented by BetPrep with me, Brentley Weissman, and Jaime Eisner. This show is for those that want just a little extra information before placing your Sunday NFL Week 14 bets on spreads, over/under on game totals, or player props right before game day. Each week, our goal was to help you walk away with some extra money in your pocket. We, of course, missed you all for Week 13 of NFL action. And look, since we've gone, we saw the Detroit Lions finally become victorious and the New England Patriots become the new kings of the AFC. And already for Week 14, we saw the Minnesota Vikings find a way to hold off the Pittsburgh Steelers and finally find a way to maintain the lead. Today, we will also see if the Lions have enough players as they battle the flu and COVID-19. The Broncos and Lions today also honoring the late, great Demaryius Thomas as well. Long live number 88. Jaime, Brentley, I hope you guys are ready. Jaime, I hope you had fun in Atlanta. How was that trip?
It was great. Got to give another shout out to our sponsor there, Bud Light Seltzer. Did an awesome job down there in Atlanta. Love the tailgate. Great game for the SEC championship. Yeah. But I'm back. Looking forward to talking some NFL player props and some NFL games this week.
Definitely a great game that you got to attend live. And yes, shout out to everybody that went down to join us. Brentley, feels good to see you back as well. You were in Vegas last week, right?
I was in Vegas, suffering some major L's. You can see the Oregon pennant back there. Beat down by Utah. Then I was supporting the Las Vegas Raiders against Washington. Another loss. So hopefully the L's are in the past. Got to get some W's, So excited to make some picks. Unfortunately.
Oh, that hurt, Jaime.
Remember,
that
cameras
hurt.
do the opposite thing. I got to learn the influencer thing where I have to do everything. Yeah.
I like that. I need to get some more. Oh, I guess I do have an L in my name, but I'm not going to be taking L's on this show. Brentley, I don't know. We're going to have to find a way to eat some W's today so we can be as cool as Jaime. All right, fellas, let's get into it. Lots of great games today. Let's start with our first one. We've got the Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers. I want to put an image in your head for this next matchup. Aaron Rodgers at Soldier Field in the end zone screaming, "I still own you." Well, Bears cornerback Jalen Johnson felt that was an insult. The Packers and Bears meet tonight at Lambeau Field. The big question, will Chicago be swept by Green Bay again? The Bears look to avoid being swept by Green Bay for the third straight year. The Bears enter this game coming off a loss to the top NFC-seeded Arizona Cardinals, while the Packers are returning fresh from a bye. Though Rodgers has doubled down on his comments, I think this game is pretty personal. The Packers are a 12-point favorite, though some are saying 11.5 out there. The total is 42.5. Let's start with you on this one, Jaime.
Yeah, so Aaron Rodgers does absolutely own the Chicago Bears and probably will do so again today. But the spread was a little bit too high for me. So I moved on, looked a little bit deeper into the points bet offerings, and I settled on the Chicago Bears first half over 6.5 points for them. It's not a lot. You just need one touchdown and an extra point here. But you might look at the numbers for Green Bay's defense and say, wow, they're only allowing 14.4 points per game at home this year. But they've been a little bit more vulnerable because 10 plus of those points they've allowed in the first half of games. They really shut things down after halftime. So I expect the Bears to at least find a way to get into the end zone in the first half. Maybe some Justin Fields magic. And then I'll be able to just wipe my hands of this game, maybe hopefully with a W at half.
Jaime is wiping his hands. Brentley, are you also wiping your hands? Are you embracing this game?
I'm embracing this game because I'm going to go with the over of the 42.5 points. And for me, it's really because of these two offenses. The Packers are getting healthy coming off the bye week. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers' foot scandal, whatever the hell it was, is behind him. We don't want to see any more pictures of his foot on Twitter. But I do think this offense is getting healthier. Rodgers, the running backs, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, they were getting a lot of usage before the bye. So I think the time off probably will help them. And so I think this offense is going to be coming out clicking on all cylinders. And then just given what everyone's saying about Rodgers and his success against the Bears, I mean, he's had 57 touchdowns to just 10 interceptions in his career. I mean, just complete dominance from the Packers side. And I expect that to happen again. I just can't go with 12 points, on a primetime game at home. So I think while the Packers offense will be able to score, with the return of Justin Fields, who, if you remember, his last full game starting, he put up 27 points, against a good Pittsburgh Steelers defense. So I thought he was just starting to hit his stride. I think with the emergence of Darnell Mooney on the outside, you have Allen Robinson coming back. You still can run the ball. I think that the Bears can do enough offensively to score some points and hit this over, even if it's 10 points. I think the Packers probably get in the 30s. So if the Bears can do enough, I think we have no issue hitting this over.
All right. Thank you, Brentley. And not the foot scandal. I feel like you started something here. I'll never understand how people like Rex Ryan have foot fetishes. Like, how do you just get obsessed with feet? But I don't know. Shout out to everyone with foot fetishes. I guess Aaron Rodgers has made you very happy these last couple of weeks. For my picks, since 2016, the Packers are 4-1 against the spread and 5-0 on the money line versus the Bears at home. I rarely do back the favorites on Sunday Night Football, but this is an easy play in favor of the Packers. So I'm actually going to take Packers -12 for my pick in this matchup. But again, it's going to be a game I think some are looking at, but I think a lot of us are already looking forward to some of these earlier games. And with that, let's head to our next one. Buffalo Bills taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. One of the day's marquee matchup features the Bills traveling to Tampa to face off against the Buccaneers. The Buffalo Bills are coming off a 14-10 loss to the New England Patriots. Buffalo's defense probably entering this game with lots of emotions after Bill safeties Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde got upset at a local reporter for asking a question they felt was disrespectful. On the other end of the spectrum, Tom Brady and tight end Rob Gronkowski recently connected on their 90th touchdown pass. TB12 making headlines this week saying he doesn't think there's any question that Gronk is the best tight end in NFL history. Buffalo has lost 4 of the last 7 games to drop behind the New England Patriots in the AFC East. Tom Brady in the race for yet another MVP. Tampa, a 3.5-point favorite, as they have been all week, but that number has gone up to 4 in some spots. The total right now, 52.5. Let's start with you on this one, Brentley.
Yeah, this was a tough game. You know, I really would have loved this if it was -3, not 3.5. I don't love that extra hook. But I'm still going to go with the home team, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, -3.5. And it's really just because I haven't liked what I've been seeing with the Buffalo Bills. They're just simply not the same team we saw last year. They don't hit on a bunch of explosive plays. Their defense is good, but they're not getting turnovers. And then with the loss of Tre'Davious White, their all-pro corner, I think the secondary is going to start getting exposed down the stretch. Their backup corners, Teron Johnson and Levi Wallace, I mean, they're not capable of covering man-to-man against this Tampa Bay offense. You think about what they have offensively: Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronk, and then Leonard Fournette, who's really running the ball well. It's pick your poison. I mean, because we saw last week, Buffalo's defense could not stop the Patriots' running game. I think Fournette can have a huge game. I think Mike Evans can have a huge game. I think Chris Godwin can have a huge game. And so I think Tampa is going to be able to move the ball. They're going to be able to score points. You see here, BetPrep, Tampa's 7-0 at home, on the road, at home. They are a very good team when they're playing in Tampa. So I'm taking the home team. I'm taking the points. And also, fun fact, Tom Brady's undefeated going against Sean McDermott, 6-0. I think he makes it 7 today.
Oh, well, there you go. Boom, mic drop. Bills Mafia are going to have their hands full, it looks like, Brentley. All right, Jamie, what say you in this matchup?
Look, I agree with Brentley, and I know we've been talking about a lot of feet for some reason on this show, but the one thing the Bucs do at home is put their foot on the gas pedal. The number 1 home scoring team in the NFL, averaging more than 38 points per game at home. So I'm going to take the over right now on them getting to 28.5 points. And by the way, they've played 5 home games this year. They have hit it in 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 times on this total. No Trey White for the Bills. I expect there's going to be a lot of passing in this game because I think Josh Allen's going to have to throw it a ton. You don't run on the Bucs, and the Bills, quite frankly, don't want to run on anybody anyway. So I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. Give me the Bucs to get over 28.5 here at home and keep that streak alive.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. All this fit talk. I think I'm going to go get a pedicure after NFL Sunday. I just feel like it's needed. I feel like you guys are speaking it into existence. For my pick in this game, narrative drives so much in the world of sports betting. People are not feeling good about the Bills, as we discussed after their loss to the Patriots. When I say this, the Bills are actually getting the hook in this game. All right. So over the past 2 seasons, the Bills are 5-1 against the spread as underdogs. So give me the Bills +3.5 for my pick in this matchup for this game. All right, y'all, let's move to the next one. We've got lots of great games coming to you all this NFL Sunday. We're going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cleveland Browns in a division where all teams are at the 500 mark or better. The AFC North leading Ravens come off a 20-19 loss to their division rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers, in a game where we saw Lamar Jackson sacked 7 times. Even with all the injuries, Baltimore has been favored in 10 of their 12 games. Last time they were underdogs was in week 2 at home against the Kansas City Chiefs and week 4 against Denver. They did come out on top in both of those matchups. Ravens haven't lost consecutive games this season. Ravens and Browns currently tied for third for most rushing yards. The Browns are currently a 3-point favorite, total 43.5. Jamie, let's go with you first on your pick for this one.
So we were talking about a little bit this game a little bit in the pre-show, and we kind of settled on this range of this could either be one of the most exciting or the most exciting game of the slate or completely unwatchable. Right now, I'm kind of leaning toward the latter there. I'm going to take the team total under for Cleveland here at home. It's set at 22.5 right now. They're averaging only 13.5 points per game at home in their last 4. And the Ravens, despite the injuries, obviously Marlon Humphrey's going to be out, have actually been a top 10 road defense this year, allowing fewer than 19 points per game. I think this is going to be a pretty ugly game. It's an extremely important game, but might not be the most aesthetically pleasing. Give me the team total under for the Browns. I don't think they're going to be able to go beyond 3 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, AFC North games can be slugfest. And some of them can be, quite frankly, boring to watch. Like you said, it might be exciting where we had the Lamar Jackson maybe going to the bathroom game, or maybe we'll just get one where you just kind of turn occasionally and see what's happening in the game just to see if you're going to win some money in this one. Brentley, what about your pick in this game?
Yeah, I'm with Jamie. I'm going with the under for the overall game, under 43.5. And it's really just because these two offenses are damn near unwatchable. As good as Lamar Jackson is, he's getting no help. This offensive line might be one of the worst in football. Just his receivers can't separate down the field. Outside of Mark Andrews, he's just getting no help at all in this offense. Over their last 7 games, they've only topped 20 points just once. So really, this is it's a mess for Baltimore. All the injuries are finally starting to add up, and Lamar can't do it all himself. With Cleveland, over their last 7 games, they've only topped 17 points once. So both of these offenses can't move the ball. Baker Mayfield's hurt, and even when he was healthy, he didn't look great. The under over the past 10 times this teams have met up, the under is 7-3, and so those odds to me just scream another under game. So give me the under here, low scoring game, run the football, smash mouth style of game, in a must win though for the Browns. This is a must win game, so I was tempted to go Browns here, but I think the under is a safer bet.
Yeah, the Browns could go under 500 if they lose this game. And like you said, we're talking about playoff implications right now this far into the season. A lot has been on Lamar Jackson's shoulders. And I think, quite frankly, the Ravens need to write a book after the season. I mean, all of these injuries, it just seems like things are going from bad to worse, and somehow they're still here. For my pick in this matchup, not only are the Ravens not playing well, as we're discussing, the team is just beat up, you all. I don't know what else the Baltimore Ravens could take. They have injuries all over their roster. It's unreal. With that being said, I can't lay points with the Browns. This is the time of the year to play the under in divisional games. So give me the under 43.5 for my pick in this game. Lots of people in my neck of the woods will be watching that game closely to see if Baltimore can bounce back. Baltimore still believing in that team. All right, y'all, let's head to another matchup in my neck of the woods. We've got Dallas Cowboys and the Washington football team taking on each other. It's Dallas week, something we've been saying for a long time. NFC East rivals Dallas and Washington meet for the first time this season. Today at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland, Washington won both games last season against their arch nemesis, and the victory would secure Washington's first 3-game winning streak against Dallas in more than 30 years. It's longer than I've been alive, folks. The longest drought in the NFL among longtime division rivals. To accomplish this feat, though, they will be without running back J.D. McKissick. Also, Washington is now down its top 4 defensive ends. Dallas has had 10 days off since they've last played, and they've gotten some reinforcements on their defensive line. Tony Pollard, a game-time decision. Cowboys, 6.5-point road favorite. Total is down to 47.5. Brentley, let's start with you on this one.
I think this is going to be a great game. I think this is probably the game I'm most excited about just because Washington's on a 4-game win streak. I was at the game in Vegas this past week. Taylor Heineke's playing some really good football. They're running the ball really, really efficiently right now. And I know the defense is going to be banged up, but I still think they can make this competitive. I'm going with the over here, over 47.5. and it's really because of what I think Washington can do on the ground. Antonio Gibson's looking really, really good. He's averaging 80 yards per game over his last 3 games. Taylor Heineke's playing good football. I think Terry McLaurin is going to have a really, really big game today. And then with Dallas, all their receivers are finally healthy. Amari Cooper's back. CeeDee Lamb's back. Michael Gallup's healthy. Dak Prescott, to me, is going to have a huge game going against a really banged-up secondary, banged-up defensive line. So I like this over here. I think this is going to be a classic NFC East shootout, a lot of points, really fun game. So going with the over here, look for a firework kind of game.
Yeah, we're really hoping so. It feels like a playoff town, you all, right now in Washington. That's how big this game is. Literally all everyone's talking about is football today. You talked about Antonio Gibson. Can't wait to see the grill that he rocks for today's game. Jamie, what about your pick in today's game?
So I'm going to take Washington the points. I get a little nervous when the Cowboys start to get cocky, and it feels like all week they have just done nothing but give Washington bulletin board material, from Mike McCarthy essentially guaranteeing victory to them flying in their own benches to put on the sideline at FedEx Field, so it says Dallas Cowboys. It just feels like they're not taking this game as seriously as they should. Washington's playing some good football recently. By the way, as you can see there on the side of the screen, Washington 4-1 against the spread in their last 5. Also 4-1 straight up as underdogs in their last 5 games in that scenario. To me, this is going to be a very close game. Now, the additions to their defensive line that went on the COVID list this morning got me off the Washington money line, but I'm still going to take the plus 6.5 here.
Yeah, those injuries and that COVID-19 list, something to definitely watch out for. And to your point, Jamie, Washington fans feeling really disrespected. We're going to be watching a game in Washington with Cowboys benches. I guess only in 2021 could this happen in the NFL. For my pick for this game, Cowboys starting quarterback Dak Prescott is 17-8 against the spread versus teams from the NFC East, and 7-1 on the money line versus the Washington football team. Washington, I know they're on the hot streak, but I'm looking at their injuries. I'm looking at everything. I do believe they should cool down this week. Don't hate me. I'm giving the Cowboys minus 6.5 for my pick in this game. I know I'm going to be hated in DC. I might have to
stay inside today, Kelsey.
A little bit after this game.
I am.
I got to make sure my address is hidden online, folks. All right, don't send the hate my way. But again, lots of people will be looking at that game. Lots of great 1 p.m. games today. And let's head to another great game happening today, fellas. Las Vegas Raiders versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Another divisional matchup. This time with AFC West rivals Las Vegas and Kansas City playing at Arrowhead Stadium. These two teams meet for the second time in a span of just 5 weeks. Last time they met, KC routed the Raiders 41-14 back on November 14th at home. These two teams are looking to really come up big this game. They're going in opposite directions. The Chiefs are enjoying a 5-game winning streak, winning each of their last 3 games by at least 10 points. For the Raiders, Denzel Perryman has been declared out. They'll also be without tight end Darren Waller. The streaking Chiefs are 9.5-point favorites. The total right now, 48. Jamie, let's start with you on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs here, but I'm nothing if not consistent. So I'm going to go alternate line here because, as you know, I've talked about on the show a million times, the Chiefs never seem to cover their large spreads over the last 2.5 years. So give me Chiefs minus 6.5. They can win this game by a touchdown. You mentioned no Darren Waller. I just don't think the Raiders have enough weapons to keep up with KC right now. The Chiefs aren't operating on all cylinders, and even that offense has been very up and down. But I'm going to trust Patrick Mahomes and his full complement of weapons against a team, quite frankly, they've owned at Arrowhead for the most part. I mean, they're 4-1 against the spread, the last 5 against the Raiders in Kansas City. And I don't think, Hunter Renfrow and the 17 targets he's going to get today are going to quite be enough for the Raiders to keep up with Kansas City. Give me the Chiefs, but buy a couple points here and get it to under 7.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. Like I said, these two teams heading in very opposite directions. Raiders losing 4 of their last 5 games, 3 of which were by at least 7 points. Brentley, who are you believing in this one to hopefully win you some money on your pick?
I'm going with the silver and black simply because I have too much respect for this kind of AFC West matchup. 9.5 points to me is just a lot. Look, I know the last time they played, it was a blowout, but consistently these teams do play each other close. Even if Kansas City does win a lot of the time, I don't anticipate another blowout. I have too much respect for Derek Carr, too much respect for Gus Bradley and what he's been able to do with this defense. Max Crosby, Yannick Ngakoue. I know they're without Denzel Perryman, but they have Corey Littleton still. The secondary is playing better. They're getting Trayvon Mullen back, which is huge. absolutely huge in this secondary. The Chiefs will be without L'Jarius Sneed. Just got recently announced that he will be out with the game because of a personal matter. I think his brother was murdered on Friday night, so condolences to him and his family. But the loss of Sneed, to me, is impactful for this game today. Hunter Renfrow is going to, as Jamie mentioned, he will be feasting today, and I think there will be enough points that the Raiders can muster up on the ground with Josh Jacobs to keep this game relatively close. And so I love the fact I'm getting 9.5 points, so I'm taking the Raiders here to keep the game within reason.
Keeping it within reason. That's all we ask for, right? Just keep it within reason. We don't want to see a repeat of that first one. Come on, we're football fans, folks. We want the games to hopefully, come down to the wire. Give us something to believe in. For my pick for this one, the Chiefs have done a fine job turning their season around. We're all talking about the Chiefs differently now. Kansas City winning 5 games in a row and covering the number in each of the last 3. Very important to note. Since 2018, the Chiefs are 4-3 against the spread and 6-1 on the money line versus the Raiders. So for my pick in this game, feeling comfortable with it, Chiefs -9.5. All right, so Chiefs -9.5 for me in this game. But the Chiefs, you got to be talking about them, folks. I mean, they are continuing to win, and a lot of us were laughing at them at the beginning of the season, treating them a lot differently now, right? I mean, they're back in that race, and who knows how the AFC will turn out. All right, it's been fun talking about these games, Jamie and Brentley, but that's a wrap on our NFL game picks. Coming up next, we've got the prop bet player wheel. You need to spin it to win it. Stay tuned because more of the Money Down is next.
And I'm back, joined by Tommy the Hitman, NFL Sharp for BetPrep to go over his best bets of the week. Let's get right into it. There's a huge game between the Buccaneers and the Bills this week. What do you like in this matchup?
Yeah, so I like the Bucs -3. They've had a pretty underrated home field advantage that not many people have talked about since that bye last year when they finally got their offense to start clicking. Since that bye, they're 7-1 against the spread. The least amount of points they've scored in those games is 26 points. And Buffalo this year, they have some good defensive metrics, but this is their first game without star corner Tre'Davious White. They've really faced an easy schedule of opposing quarterbacks that has Big Ben, Tua, Davis Mills, Trevor Lawrence, Mike White, and Trevor Siemian on it. And when they did take a step up in competition against some offenses like the Colts and the Titans, they allowed 34 and 41 points. Buffalo is also in a bad spot on a short week off a highly physical game against the Patriots, where now you have to go to Tampa Bay in humidity. So for me, all the work points to Tampa -3.
And do you like the over in that game as well? I think everything you said there, you said a lot of points. Tampa scores at home. No Trey White for Buffalo again. Godwin, Evans on the other side. You liking the over as well?
Yeah, so I broke down a lot of reasons why I like the Bucs offense, and just to add to that, the Bucs are passing at the highest rate in the NFL, and they've been playing at the league's second fastest pace. And what do we know about Buffalo? They don't run the ball much against anybody, and now you're facing Tampa Bay's elite run defense. So with Buffalo, we're going to expect a high pass rate. We're going to expect them to go after a Tampa Bay secondary that I also think is a little overrated based off of the opposing quarterbacks they have faced this year. So I think that Buffalo is going to have some offensive success. I obviously think Tampa is going to have a lot of offensive success. So I like the over 53.5.
All right, let's wrap up with a game that isn't as quite of a marquee matchup as Bucs-Bills, and that is the Jaguars and the Titans. Again, you could find some betting love in even some of the most rough games of the schedule. What do you like in this matchup?
Yeah, so I like Jacksonville +8.5. And let me be blunt about this. This is not a play on the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is more of a play against the Tennessee Titans. The Titans have the least amount of 20 or more yard plays in the entire NFL this season. And that's with having A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry, and Julio Jones for most of the season. It's just an offense that is not built to win by margin as currently constructed due to their injuries. The Titans, despite their record, they're a below average team right now, and not just a below average team, in my opinion, a clearly below average team that doesn't deserve to be laying over a touchdown to anybody. It's a real similar handicap to what I had when I had Houston against the Titans a few weeks ago. I like Jacksonville +8.5.
Well, there you have it. That's Tommy the Hitman, NFL Sharp for BetPrep. We'll be back with you next week.
Welcome back into the Money Down NFL show presented by BetPrep on the Draft Network's YouTube channel with Jaime Eisner, Brentley Weissman, and myself, Kelsey Nicole Nelson. It's now time to spin our props bet. Jaime and Brentley, are you ready to go head to head for our player props? This should be good. All right, with that, let's bring up the wheel and let's get ready to spin it. We're spinning. And it looks like first we're heading on out to Atlanta, the Atlanta Falcons, and talking about Kyle Pitts, the tight end.
Jaime, I'm going with the over here, and it's really because of two things. One, Kyle Pitts is averaging 59.9 yards per game, so this is already over this prop. And then two, the Falcons can't stop a nosebleed on defense. And so because of that, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, forcing Matt Ryan to throw the football, which is going to allow Kyle Pitts to have the volume and target share to me easily eclipse this over.
I'm going to go the other way here. And we were joking in the pre-show about how Kyle Pitts is going to have the most underwhelming and underappreciated 1,000-yard season for a rookie tight end ever. But look, he's been under this total in his last 3 games. The Carolina Panthers as a team are allowing only about 41 yards per game to the tight end position as a whole. Only a 2 for 13 in the last time these two teams met up. I don't know. I don't know why he's not more heavily involved. You imagine without Calvin Ridley, obviously no Julio Jones after the trade, you thought he was going to be more involved, but he just hasn't been in recent weeks. I'm going to take the under.
All right, both very compelling reasons, but you know what? I'm going to have to go with Jaime. I'm going to also take the under. Pitts had only gone over this number once in the last 4 games, so I wouldn't feel comfortable taking the over today on that one. But you know what? We need to give Atlanta players some more love. I feel like they're just forgotten right now. We got to talk about the Atlanta Falcons more. All right, let's head back to our wheel and get ready to spin it to win it once again. We're spinning, and it looks like we're going to Seattle, the Seahawks, and talking about Gerald Everett over under. Let's go, fellas.
Bradley, I'm going to take the over here. I know he's coming off of a bad, to be nice game, but he's gone over in 4 of his last 5 games on this total. This is a pretty low number. Texans as a team right now, to look at my notes, 53.8 yards per game is what they're allowing to tight ends this year. I do expect him to be more heavily involved. And honestly, for me, it's just too low of a number. Like, I don't think he's going to blow by this, but I do think he's going to be somewhere in the 40s. So at 31.5, give me the over.
Yeah, how bad was he last week? My gosh, a fumble, a drop pass in the end zone. I mean, it was brutal. I'm going with the under here. I know he's come on strong as of late, but still for the season, he's averaging just 23.3 yards per game. I think he'll be the forgotten man in this offense today. I look for DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett to really get going. I don't know if there's going to be the target share for him to eclipse this, so I'm going with the under.
All right. You guys always make it so hard to choose, but for this one, I think I'm going to go with the over. Everett has had 18 targets in the last 3 weeks, so I do think he can get over this number today. All right. There's always the bounce back. Because everybody deserves a chance to bounce back. So we'll see if that happens today. Let's head back to the wheel, fellas, and let's see who we have next. It looks like we're spinning, and we are landing on this time Kansas City, the Chiefs. And we're talking about quarterback Patrick Mahomes over under on passing yards.
I never like going under with Patrick Mahomes, but I'm going to do so today. He's averaging only 282 passing yards per game, so that's significantly lower than this. The Raiders, for the amount of slander they get, they're actually the 12th best passing defense in the NFL, only allowing 243 passing yards per game. I think if the Chiefs are going to have success, it's going to actually be on the ground running the football. So I'm going under here, but I don't feel great about it. It's Patrick Mahomes.
I'm going to take the over here, even though this line is going up by about 10 yards. Mahomes is averaging 327 yards per game against the Raiders in his career. Like, that is absolutely nuts. He's gone over this total in 5 of his 7 career games against Las Vegas. He's playing at home. The weather's fairly solid, particularly for this time of year. He's got all his weapons out there. I think we're going to see if there's going to be a big game from Patrick Mahomes, it's against this team in that stadium with his weapons being healthy. It's a high number, but I like the over.
Yeah, I think, Jaime, you just said it well. I have to take the over, too, because like you said, those last games against the Raiders, Patrick Mahomes
Brentley
playing well. In the passing game, Brentley, I'm confident it, Brentley, we will find some synergy. Let's go back to the wheel and see if it's on this next one, Brentley, for this next player prop. We're spinning. And it looks like this time we are going to land on, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we're talking about the tight end, Rob Gronkowski, over under on receiving yards.
Give me the over here, Brentley. Look, he has gone over this in 5 of his last 6 healthy games. I know the Bills have been solid against tight ends. It's actually been better than solid against tight ends. But no Trey White means you're going to have to allocate some help elsewhere on the outside. We're going to see like Levi Wallace versus Mike Evans. So I think Gronk is going to get plenty of work. Brady's been targeting him all year long. And when he starts to finish his games, he's flown over this total. I think he's going to do it again here. Give me the over.
So I'm going with the under here, and it's really, I'm going to use one of your reasons because they have no Trey White. And because of that, I think Mike Evans, Chris Godwin are going to have monster games today. I don't think the Bucs are going to need Rob Gronkowski too much. I also think they're going to be able to run the football. And so I think Gronk will be used more as a blocker. So I'm going with the under here, under 50 and a half receiving yards. I just think the other Bucs playmakers are going to have bigger games.
Definitely other playmakers will step up, but for this one, I got to go with the over, Brentley. Gronk, I think he's picking right off where he left before injury. I do think he will actually cruise to this number today for my pick in this one. All right, fellas, here we go for the last one. Brentley, let's see if you can sway me. We're spinning.
I hope so.
And it looks like we're landing on Cincinnati. The Bengals, Jamar Chase, over under on receiving yards.
All right, I'm going over here for Jamar Chase. He's been kind of overshadowed by T. Higgins in recent weeks. I think that ends today, though. Chase, he's on pace for one of the best rookie receiver seasons we've seen, obviously, Justin Jefferson last year, but still a heck of a year. The 49ers secondary's banged up. No starting corners available today. I think Joe Burrow and co. shred this defense, and Jamar Chase is a big reason why. So I'm going over here. I think he easily eclipses this. Look for a 100-yard game.
So you mentioned the 49ers. I think that's a really interesting point because 49, that's the number of days it's been since the last time he's been able to go over this total. He's averaging only 40.8 yards per game in his last 5. And as I mentioned, has not even come close to going over this total since October 24th. We are now in mid-December. He's a great player, but teams have found a way to take him out of the game. I expect Higgins to continue his run, meaning give me Jamar Chase to go under this total yet again.
You've got me wanting to play 49 now in the lotto, Jamie. I feel like I need to do something with that number. I think you know what, Brentley, I'm going to take the over on this one. I'm just feeling good. I've seen Jamar Chase.
There we go. We're on the board.
He's doing well. So, look, Brentley got on the board. I'm going to take the over for that last. Not at all. Not at all. Look, I'm believing in Brentley and Jamar make us happy. And Jamar Chase, we are trusting. All right, fellas, that will do it for our Will of Prop segments. And you out there, don't go anywhere because we'll return with more. We've got a very special guest. Stay tuned.
I'm Jaime Eisner back here again with BetPrep's player prop sharp Brad Feinberg to go over 7 of his favorite prop bets for this week in the NFL. And let's get right into it, Brad. It's been a couple weeks, but one thing that's been consistent over the course of the season is when he plays, Nick Chubb puts up numbers, and you're expecting that to be the case this week.
You know, Jamie, here's what I think we're getting here. 68.5 yards. It's just too low. Look, I remember David Montgomery went against Baltimore. We gave it out. I think they made it 55.5. I'm going by memory, David. It was just too low of a number. Last 2 years, this number, David, Nick Chubb is going over, because to me, it's only relevant when Kareem Hunt there. It's 15-6 the last 2 years. 13-5 when Kareem Hunt has played, because Hunt missed 3 of those games. They weren't there. So let's just call it 13-5. Now, here's the thing. Baltimore has allowed the fewest rush yards, Jamie, in the NFL, but to me, and they're obviously good against the run, but their yards per carry, which is actually, I think, only 8th best, which is still clearly good, but it's not. But the reason it's as good as it is they've just been fewer attempts. Last game these teams played, Cleveland just didn't run the ball. I think it was a huge mistake. I think we're going to see a lot more rushing from Nick Chubb. I'll sleep like a baby if this loses. Give me Nick Chubb over 68.5.
Let's move on to the tight end position of Travis Kelsey, who is having a good year, but maybe not Kelsey-esque. But that's reflected in what I thought, I was shocked when he sent this over, a pretty low reception total to go over under here. 5.5 against Las Vegas. I mean, I've already teased it. You like the over a lot. I've already blown it over. So there it is.
You blow it up. What can we do?
I know.
I still love you anyway, though.
but why do you like it?
Yeah, no surprises here. Well, listen, Jamie, and here's the interesting thing. This year, this bet's only 7-5, and it's in a 1-4 rut. Okay, so I get the trends, but if I take this back when I was on BetPrep, take it back its last 31 games, it's 22-9 bet. You take it back its last 20 games, Jamie, it's a 15-5 bet. So to me, this is just has value. Plus, he's going against, right? He's going against the Raiders, which to me is one of the worst teams. It seems like, isn't it perpetuity? They're always like bottom 3 team against the I don't understand how that's possible. You're changing rosters over all the time. How could you always be so bad against the tight end? But for whatever reason, this team has been, still is. So yeah, I get the reasons why it may lose, but I'm going to take Kelsey over 5.5.
Well, I might spoil the surprise here again. Let's talk about another pass catcher, Mike Evans. And I looked at this number that you sent me, and I thought, did the books think Trey White was playing in this game? Because this looks like the number I would expect to see against the Bills under normal circumstances. Right. 57.5 is not what I thought I would see against backup corners on the outside.
Look, it's interesting. Like, I got to tell you something. I think this player, and yeah, I mean, Jamie, you know as much about football as anyone. Like, and this guy, he's the only player in the NFL for his first 7 years to have 1,000 yards all 7 years. I think this guy's crazy underrated. I got to tell you, I think he's underrated by fans. I think he's underrated in the betting market. They continue to make Godwin substantially ahead of him. I get Godwin to beat him a little bit. I get it. Doesn't need to be explained to him. I know Godwin last week had 15 carries. We actually, I didn't do the show with you last week. I had Evans over last week, same thing. Look, I'm going to take it again. Look, he's averaging his last 15 games. He's gone over this 10 times. 2 out of 3 clip. Basically, that's with Brady. Averaging 75 yards a game. Why is this number 57.5? I got, and this should be a game theoretically where there's passing, a lot of passing, a shootout kind of game. I'll be honest, I would have had this over under legitimately 15 yards higher than this. I think it's a bad freaking number. Love Mike Evans over here, Jamie.
Say bad number, but good for bettors. And yeah. I'm with you. I think Godwin's a great player to bet receptions props with, but Mike Evans is the yardage guy. I mean, because quite frankly, you could do this on 2 catches. I mean, it's very 100%. Possible.
Yeah, his average depth of target is much higher than Godwin.
Thank you so much for staying with us, and welcome back to The Money Down, airing live on the Draft Network's YouTube channel, presented by BetPrep. It's now time to welcome in our special guest, Patrick Everson of Props US, in conjunction with BetPrep for the BetPrep breakdown. Patrick, we missed you last week. How are you this NFL Sunday?
I am good, Kelsey. I apologize. I forgot the dang earbuds, of course. Sunday mornings just come way too early for me, I'm telling you. It's the one time where the West Coast or Pacific time is not the best time. But I'm here awake just without earbuds, so I'll do my best to plow through this with you.
No problem. Let's get started on it, Patrick. And it's okay, I can be loud because this first game, lots of fans in my neck of the wood are being loud about. We're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys versus the Washington football team. Washington dealing with a lot of injuries as Dallas gets back healthier. So, Patrick, where is the money on the Cowboys versus Washington football team game?
Well, Kelsey, as I'm sure you and your team have discussed this morning, this line has surged up to Cowboys 6.5 now, so it's on the brink of a touchdown, full touchdown here. That's what it is behind me here, Mandalay Bay Sportsbook on the Las Vegas Strip. But Jeff Stone back here at BetMGM Nevada said that was, they were keeping their number in line with the market, so somebody else saw that money. It wasn't necessarily BetMGM. Now, that said, BetMGM Nevada has a significant need on this game, and the need is Washington. And that is, although tickets are 2-1 on the Cowboys, money would be only 2.5-1 on Cowboys, which is significant enough. It would have made it a pretty decent decision here at BetMGM Nevada. But there's a huge play. If you eliminate that huge play, money's 2.5-1 on Cowboys. But you can't eliminate it because the bet has been made. So the money is overwhelmingly Dallas. And here at BetMGM Nevada, they definitely need Washington pretty good. Nationally, BetMGM Vice President of Trading said the Cowboys also are the biggest liability of the early kickoffs, but not quite as lopsided, not nearly as not lopsided nationally as they are here in Las Vegas.
All right, Patrick, thank you so much for that breakdown. And Patrick, let's head to our next game. We're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buffalo's defense trying to not hopefully be embarrassed this week. What are you hearing on the Bills versus Buccaneers game?
Yeah, it seems like most books are going to have the same need here, and that is the Bills. There are one or two books where the action is reasonably close, maybe even perhaps two-way action, but that's just on straight bets. All the parlays and even teasers, people are teasing through zero. Parlays, money line parlays, they're taking the Buccaneers here. At BetMGM Nevada, money's 3-1 in favor of the Bucs, and they've got another big play on this game as well. And it's not newsflash, it's not on Buffalo. It's a big play on Tampa Bay. So they're very lopsided on straight bet money on the Buccaneers as well. Definitely going to need the Bills in this afternoon kickoff. That's going to be a big one, I think, in multiple books. Other books have reported that this is, among their top 1, 2, 3 liabilities. WinBet told me that last night, and I think when I looked back with WinBet this morning, this was still their third largest liability of all the Week 14 games today, and they definitely need Buffalo. They're going to want Buffalo.
All right, thank you, Patrick. Definitely a game we'll be keeping our eyes on. Our next matchup, we're going to talk about the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a game many are looking to. George Kittle having a great game last Sunday. Maybe he'll do it again. What are you hearing on the 49ers versus Bengals game?
Yeah, I'm flipping through my sheet. I actually went a page ahead of myself here. So at BetMGM Nevada, first off, this line jumped the fence. There were multiple books that opened this game in the neighborhood of Cincinnati 1.5. It got, I think, as far as Niners -2, maybe even a little bit more at points elsewhere. But it's Niners 1.5 now. And Scott Shelton told me late last night for BetMGM Nevada, super sharp bet on 49ers +1 is what got the ball rolling toward this line jumping the fence to San Francisco early in the week. Scott said tickets very close, but money way skewed towards Cincinnati in this game due to a significant wager at BetMGM Nevada on the Bengals. One of the bigger decisions of the day here at BetMGM Nevada behind the Cowboys game. But if you eliminate that large play, and from what I've heard from other books, there's definitely some two-way action on this game. And clearly, by the way the line has moved with the Bengals going from a favorite to now a short home dog, there's some sharp money coming in on the Niners.
All right, thank you, Patrick. Bengals hoping to bounce back today. And our last game I want to talk with you about today, Patrick, is the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cleveland Browns. We know this is a good old AFC North matchup. So I want to ask you, where is the money on the Ravens versus Browns game? We all know Baltimore dealing with a lot of injuries.
Right. Probably, this may be the better game of these early kickoffs. These ones coming up here, Kelsey. Talked with Jeff Stoneback at BetMGM Nevada just a little bit ago, as well as I alluded to earlier, Jason Scott, Vice President of Trading for BetMGM Nationwide. And this game's literally very close on ticket count here in Nevada. A little bit ago, there was literally 3 more tickets on the Ravens than on the Browns, so pretty much dead even tickets. But Jeff Stoneback said here in Nevada, we do need the Ravens for a small amount. Money 4-1 on the Browns, which sounds a little overwhelming. But he said it's not a heavily bet game. It's kind of a slow weekend here. There are 1 or 2 bettors that are really firing today, big, high rollers. But generally speaking, the public is not firing. It's kind of a slow weekend here in Vegas. And nationally, Jason Scott said this matchup is pretty neutral for us, although Cleveland has moved from -1.5 to -2.5 over the course of the week. And I think this might have even been a line flip, but this might have been something where it was a round pick or something where it moved a little bit more at some other books that opened this game a little bit earlier.
All right. Thank you so much, Patrick. We've got to get more bettors out to Vegas. I know many here now that we've got sports books in Maryland. Patrick, thank you so much, as always, for joining us. A true honor and pleasure. Can't wait to see you next week. And to all of you watching, we've still got more show. Coming up next, we'll do our Go for 2 picks and this week's bold bet. So stay tuned to the Draft Network because more of the Money Down is next. everyone, and welcome back into the Money Down, where we will now turn our attention to the leaderboard to check out our most recent results. All right, fellas, let's look and see where we are. Okay, so this is it. We can all improve. Together we will. Week 14 is it, fellas. I'm feeling it for all of us. 12 was just an off week. It was an off week for all of us. So hopefully the bounce back game is real for all three of us, because we all want to get success. So we all want to win some money. That's what this show is for. All right. So smiles. We're thinking positive thoughts. All right. Let's now get ready for our go for two picks. Let's start with you on Jaime this one. What's your first go for two?
So we've teased it all throughout the show, but I think we're all in agreement we expect a lot of points from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and a lot of offensive production. So I'm going with Mike Evans here, over 60.5 yards. He has gone over this total in 8 of his last 11 games, averaging more than 66 yards per game this season. No Trey White. I expect him to have a monster game this week.
All right. Thank you so much for that one, Jaime. Brentley, what about your first go for two pick?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson, over 65.5 rushing yards. He has killed the Cowboys in his career. I know it's only been 2 games, but in those 2 games, he's averaging over 125 yards on the ground per game. Over his last 3 games, he's averaging 98 yards on the ground. No J.D. McKissick. He's out, and so I think Gibson's going to have a monster day. I see him going for 100 yards today again, and so I think this over cashes out pretty easily.
All right. Thank you so much, Brentley, the Cowboy killer. I like that. I feel like we're going to have to start calling Antonio Gibson that here in Washington. All right. For my first go for two pick, I'm looking at the Atlanta Falcons versus Carolina Panthers game. I really do feel like the wrong team is the favorite in this game. Carolina 4-10 against the spread at home under Matt Rule, while Atlanta is surprisingly 4-2 against the spread on the road this season. So for this one, give me Falcons at +2.5 for my first go for two pick. Let's get ready to roll for our next head of picks, fellas. Let's start with you on this one, Brentley.
Yeah, going with Mark Andrews, over 55.5 receiving yards. For all that's wrong with the Baltimore offense, Mark Andrews is not it. He is not the problem. Over his last, 3 games, he's getting 8+ targets per game. So he's just a huge part of this offense. I think Lamar Jackson's really going to rely on him today, given the offensive line issues that they've had. He destroyed the Browns last time they played 2 weeks ago, so I think that trend continues. I love Mark Andrews here in the spot, so I'm going with the over.
Yeah, if there's 2 names I trust in Baltimore, Justin Tucker and Mark Andrews, all right? I feel like those are 2 sure-handed names. Jaime, give me your second go for two pick.
Brentley, have I ever told you how smart I think you are?
Oh, how nice.
Love this as well. I'm riding with Brentley on this. Mark Andrews over 55.5. It's gone over in 8 of the last 11 games. As Brentley mentioned, went over, had 65 yards in the last game between these 2 teams. Oh, and by the way, he's averaging more than 56 yards per game in his career against Cleveland as well. I trust Mark Andrews will get plenty of targets and plenty of production in this matchup.
Definitely. I don't know how I'm a person from Maryland and I didn't also have this pick with you fellas. Like, we need to be in perfect alignment. So Mark Andrews, I do also think will have a big game, even though Lamar sometimes throws those interceptions when he's trying to get the ball to Mark Andrews, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. For my second go for two pick, I'm looking at the New Orleans Saints game versus the New York Jets. This is a tough game to handicap. It's hard to back either of these teams against the spread. The Jets are currently 4-2 for the over at home this season. I think the over is a sneaky yet sharp bet for this game. So give me over 42.5 for my second go for two pick in that game. Next week, fellas, we somehow all 3 have to be in synergy. I would love to see that. All right. We've got to be in synergy for one of these.
You were anti the DMV teams this week. I was against your brand.
I know. I'm sorry, everyone. But sometimes you got to look. It's just like your parents sometimes tell you, got to go somewhere. You know, you got to get out of home and spread your wings. That's what I did today, Jaime. All right. I'm spreading the wings. All right. I'm leaving home. So we'll see if that works out for me. All right. Let's now go to our bold bets. I will start with you, Brentley. Give me your first bold bet.
Well, you know, the Jaguars and Urban Meyer are in the news for all the wrong reasons over the past couple of days. You know, Urban Meyer apparently called his coaches losers and is fighting with players, and it's an absolute mess down in Duval. That being said, I'm going Jags money line on the road against the Titans. Look, it's either going to be a beatdown of a lifetime by the Titans or the Jags are going to win. There'll be no in between. This is not going to be a close game. The Jags are going to win or they're going to get destroyed. I'm going with the upset. I think perhaps the coaches are going to be motivated after getting called losers. Maybe the team rallies around Urban. Who knows? But I think the Jaguars get it done and shock the world and win despite all the chaos.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about what's going on in Jacksonville. Like, it just seems like the news just keeps getting worse and worse. And I don't know, Urban Meyer, we've got to do something. We've got to get it together. It's been a lot of bad storylines about you, Coach. So we'll see. I don't know. Jacksonville needs some positivity. So hopefully, Brentley, that happens. All right, Jamie, give me your bold bet for this week.
Before I do that, the other interesting thing with the Jags that just came across while we've been on the air is Urban Meyer chatted with Jay Glazer, denied the Marvin Jones stuff, but basically confirmed the coach stuff. So that was interesting. So a lot of really, I can't see how that tenure lasts beyond this year. But back to the betting standpoint. Oh, by the way, I still think you can get plus odds on Urban Meyer to be first coach fired if you happen to be into that betting market right now. Matt Nagy's the heavy favorite, but he might not make it past Monday morning either. Monday morning could be really interesting for both Jacksonville and Chicago, put it that way. But my bold bet of this week, Alvin Kamara makes his return. 2+ touchdowns right now. You get that at plus 330. The New York Jets have allowed nearly 2 touchdowns per game to the running back position this year. No Mark Ingram is on the COVID list. I expect a heavy, heavy dose of Alvin Kamara in this game. These are really too good of odds for me to pass up for a multi-touchdown game.
Yeah, can you ever go against AK? I mean, that guy is just truly, truly, truly special. So if there's anybody you can count on, I'd definitely say Alvin Kamara should be one of them. For my bold bet, I'm going with a pair of upsets today. I like the Falcons to beat Carolina and the Bills to upset the Buccaneers. A money line parlay with these two teams to win pays out at about plus 490. So I'm feeling good right now. All right, fellas. So we'll see. Again, it's go bold or go home. And that's what we do on this show. This is what we like to do on this show. This is why we end with our bold bet. So yes, lots going on in the football world. Lots of great games today. And yeah, we'll see if any coaches don't have good Mondays. So we'll have to look out for. Thank you as always so much, Brentley and Jamie. And to all of you for tuning in to another episode of the Money Down NFL show. We appreciate you staying with us all show long. We're back at 11:45 a.m. Eastern time this coming Sunday on the Money Down for week 15 of NFL action. All right, so make sure you tune in then. And as always, please be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. We can't wait to see you all next show. Bye, guys, and enjoy another great Sunday of NFL football.